And so there's great questioning coming into the value of the figures that are being received by the public and business from government. And rightly they should. I've been talking about it for over 10 years. But anyway, that's where we're headed. What's your answer? Gold and silver-related assets. The only place to be. And I've been right for 10 years about that, and I'm going to continue to be right. All you have to do is read history. It's all there.
All right, fine.
The president is going to get his Peace Prize in Oslo before he goes to Copenhagen and signs away our country. But we know that whatever he signs is worthless because it has to be passed by the House and the Senate in the United States. I was on with Senator Inhofe this morning on another program, and he said that. And he also said that cap and trade, he said he told Barbara Boxer, it's dead on arrival. And so we're not going to get caught cap and trade. And no matter what those jokers do in Copenhagen, all it is a 2-week vacation. That's what it's all about.
All right, fine.
And, you know, the statistics I've got here, the information I've got here on ClimateGate are unbelievable. And the American media has blocked it out. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did earlier this year. I'm going to spend 3 months every day on the radio, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. In fact, Fox contacted me this past week. I told them I couldn't go on because I had previous commitments. And I'm going to let the American public know what their media is not telling them. And, you know, the last time I did that with HR 1207, when I started, there were 100 co-sponsors. When I finished, there were 186. And right now, there's 311. So the public is searching and seeking the truth. And the only way they're going to get it is on programs like this and through the Internet. And we are being successful. We're reaching them. If Copenhagen is killed, which I think it will be, and incidentally, what they wanted to do is steal our sovereignty, and everybody else's for that matter. The syllabus talks all about world government over and over and over again, and they wanted to tax us 20% along with the Europeans so we could redistribute that money to the third world. It's called Marxism. And cap and trade was going to, if it were to be passed, which I don't think it will be, per Mr. Imhoff, that would cost us another 20% in taxation. So if you're 30% bracket, you had 20 and 20, you would have been up to 70% plus all the other taxes you pay. So you're in for 75% for the average guy. And that's called tax slavery.
But, of course, President Obama promised us that the taxes wouldn't go up unless we were making over, $250,000 a year. You mean President Obama wasn't telling the truth?
Of course not. I wonder what he's got to say about Acorn now.
Well, our telephone number is...
They're in the soup again.
Well, our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295 here in the Central Coast of California. Our guest is Bob Chapman, if you'd like to talk about what's really going on behind the scenes financially as the whole financial structure of the world begins to topple right on schedule. I don't think there's any question that this is all planned. They know what they're doing. They just don't want the American people to know that they're going to bring it all down and impoverish our land. Well, certainly, Bob, as we look and see what's happening, right now we're hearing people talking about something called Basel I agreement and Basel II agreement, having to do, past, I think, some years ago, having to do with trying to get a fair playing field on the internationally for the banks. And apparently, some central banks have taken unfair advantage. I mean, when you can print all the money you want to and then get other countries to take worthless paper, that gives you a tremendous advantage for profit. And that's what the Japanese did for many years, and they became some of the wealthiest banks in the world until the whole house structure, house of cards came tumbling down. Have you heard any people talking about Basel I and Basel II and having to renegotiate them?
Well, first of all, the answer is no. Secondly, I've referred to it in the forecaster over the last several issues.
Right.
And I'll wait.
Hold that thought. We'll be back in just a moment with Bob Chapman. Just Dan, I guess, is Bob Chapman. We've got a couple of callers. But right now, of course, I think 130 banks have gone down so far this year. And some of these have been fairly large banks. Bob anticipates, what, we'll lose 1,000 or 2,000 banks next year? What are your thoughts?
2,000 to 2,500, probably 2,500. And one of the pieces of information I was given by this banker was the FDIC says that there's 252 banks that are in imminent danger. This is public. The banker told me, the Fed says that the banks are 2,025. And in order to cover those losses, it costs $1 trillion. And the Fed said that there will be no FDIC by the end of next year. Now, I printed that in my publication. And lo and behold, last week, the Bank of America made an announcement, and I don't know that they will tell their depositors in their December statements what's going to happen after the beginning of the year. But the Bank of America said they are no longer going to supply FDIC insurance to accounts that have interest-bearing nature. In other words, deposit savings accounts and CDs. And if anybody's got money in those forms in Bank of America, I would certainly remove them. And I've been telling you this is going to come, and it's coming. And I think the Bank of America, biggest bank in the United States right now, is going to be the first one, and I think it'll be followed by others. And when they all do it, you got no place to go if you want to have interest-bearing accounts. And so I've told my subscribers that what you must do is withdraw the money, penalty or not, and get out of there and put your money in gold and silver-related assets, because it's going to be the only safe place. And I think by the time this is done, we'll lose 3,200 to 4,200 banks over the next 2 years.
All right, well, let's go to Rod, who's calling from Ohio. Hi, Rod, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question or comment?
Yes, first up, I'd like to say thank you, gentlemen, for all your tireless work. And my question is pretty much to both of you. I hope it's not too much off topic. One of my friends called today in kind of a half panic. He'd gotten 2 of those census forms asking all the extremely personal questions. He threw them away, and he got a couple of notes left on his door threatening, say you could end up in jail if you don't fill this out. Is there anywhere somebody like that can turn? I told him maybe a congressman. Do you have any questions?
Well, that's where I would start, and I would I'd get a top person in his staff and say, look, I've been threatened with jail, and I'm not going to fill out these forms. Now, can you help me?
Okay.
They were going to use Acorn to do that, and the Census Bureau dropped the contract for them because of their investigation by many states for election fraud, as well as embezzlement and extortion. And the group is now in trouble again. A private detective spotted the people in the San Diego office for Acorn dumping all their files in the dumpster. So he collected them all and took them away. And Jerry Brown, who's the AG of California, who expects to be the next governor again, we used to call him Governor Moonbeam when I lived there. And he says that that's tantamount to stealing them, because they belong to them because they're in the dumpster. And these 2 people who presented themselves as procurers and prostitutes at that office and were videotaped telling these two supposedly lawbreakers that this is a better way to break the law. He wants to bring legal action against the people who went in and got these videos, not against the people in Acorn who were breaking the law.
Well, I think, of course,
Just try to throw that in there.
All right. I think that Governor Brown, if he proceeds with that, ex-Governor Brown will, of course, certainly lose any chance at all of getting to be the governor of the state of California. And he's a brilliant man, but a very dangerous man, because he has a different set of values. So anything else you want to ask, Rod?
Well, I just want to say, too, in the last issue of the Forecaster, where Bob brought up about Pastor Manning, and Pastor Manning's a very brave man. He deserves everybody's prayers, along with you, Dr. Stan and Bob. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back.